The dress had taken 4 months to complete. Custom beaded lace, hand-sewn pearls, silk imported from Italy. The total cost was $6,800. My designer, Mrs. Kowalski, became emotional when I tried on the final version. "You look like you stepped out of a fairy tale," she said. I brought the dress to my sister's apartment on a Thursday afternoon, 2 weeks before my wedding. I wanted her to see it. Despite years of subtle comments and quiet competition between us, I still hoped we could share this moment. Vanessa opened the door wearing work clothes, a dark blazer and pencil skirt. She was a licensed therapist with her own practice downtown. Our parents were proud of her, Dr. Vanessa Torres, helping people work through trauma. "What's that?" she asked, nodding toward the garment bag. "My wedding dress. I wanted you to see it before Saturday." She stepped aside to let me in. Her apartment was spotless, decorated in shades of gray and white, minimal, almost clinical. I carefully unzipped the bag and lifted the dress out. Vanessa stared at it. Something in her expression changed. "You're actually wearing that?" Her tone was flat. "It's perfect, right? Mrs. Kowalski is an artist." "It's a bit excessive, very attention-seeking." I should have left at that moment. I had heard that tone before. Still, I stayed. I kept hoping for something different. "I thought you'd be happy for me." Vanessa walked into the kitchen and poured herself a glass of wine. "I am happy. I just think you're being dramatic, as usual." "It's my wedding day, Vanessa." She took a sip, her eyes still fixed on the dress. "Do you remember when I got engaged to Marcus?" I did. 4 years earlier, the engagement had lasted 6 months before he ended it. "You wore that red dress to my engagement party. Everyone paid attention to you instead of me. You always do this." "That was 4 years ago. I didn't—" "You don't deserve to be prettier than me," she said quietly. She placed her wine glass down, opened a drawer, and pulled out a pair of kitchen scissors. I didn't move. I watched her walk toward the dress. "Vanessa, don't!" She grabbed the fabric. The scissors cut through the bodice. Beads scattered across the floor, small crystals bouncing like fallen stars. She kept cutting, through the lace, through the silk skirt, through the train I had perfected over 3 fittings. I took out my phone and began recording. "What are you doing?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "What I should have done years ago." She was breathing heavily, cutting faster. "You think you're so special? Perfect engagement, perfect dress, perfect life? This is my wedding dress." "Not anymore." Within 2 minutes, the dress lay in pieces. Months of work and thousands of dollars were destroyed. Vanessa dropped the scissors. Her hands were shaking. I stopped recording, switched to camera mode, and photographed the shredded fabric on her floor, the scissors, her flushed expression. "You can leave now," she said. I gathered the torn pieces and placed them back into the garment bag carefully, as if they could somehow be repaired. I didn't cry, I didn't argue. I walked out to my car and sat there for 20 minutes. Then I opened my laptop. Vanessa's professional license was public record. I pulled up her profile on the State Licensing Board website, her practice information, her ethical obligations. Therapists in our state must follow strict professional conduct standards. The code was clear. License holders must demonstrate ethical behavior in both professional and personal conduct. Character matters when working with vulnerable individuals. I had already questioned whether Vanessa practiced what she preached. 6 months earlier, she had posted on Instagram about a difficult client who was completely delusional about her marriage. She deleted it within an hour, but I had taken a screenshot. That alone suggested a confidentiality violation. 3 months ago, a former client had left an anonymous review, yet detailed, on a therapy directory site. The review described a therapist who shared her own personal struggles during sessions, asked the client for emotional support, and crossed professional boundaries. The review mentioned Vanessa's office address. I had saved that as well. I created a new folder on my laptop and began organizing everything. Over the next 3 hours, I compiled the evidence. Attachment 1, A 47-second video of Vanessa cutting my dress. Clear audio of her statement, "You don't deserve to be prettier than me." Attachment 2. Photographs of the destroyed dress from 6 angles, documenting approximately $6,800 in damages. Attachment 3. The invoice from Mrs. Kowalski's boutique, confirming the cost. Attachment 4. A screenshot of Vanessa's deleted Instagram post that appeared to violate client confidentiality, complete with timestamp and full text. Attachment 5. A screenshot of the anonymous client review describing boundary violations and emotional manipulation during therapy sessions, including the office address, matching Vanessa's practice. Attachment 6. 18 text messages from Vanessa over the past 2 years.
Making derogatory remarks about my relationship, my appearance, and my career. Attachment 7. A text Vanessa sent 3 weeks earlier. Enjoy your wedding while you can. Your marriage won't last a year. Attachment 8. Photo evidence from 5 years earlier. Vanessa had accidentally spilled red wine on my college graduation dress the night before the ceremony. I documented it at the time, but never acted on it. Attachment 9. An email from one of Vanessa's colleagues. I had reached out expressing concern about her conduct toward clients, especially her tendency to center sessions on herself. Attachment 10. The State Licensing Board's Professional Conduct Code, with highlighted sections covering character standards, confidentiality, and professional boundaries. Attachment 11. Our family group text thread, showing an 8-year pattern of jealous and undermining behavior directed at me. Attachment 12. A formal statement I drafted outlining a consistent pattern of destructive and unethical conduct, raising concerns about her fitness to practice therapy. Everything was organized. Every document was labeled. Every claim was supported. At 11:47 p.m., I drafted the email. It was addressed to the State Board of Behavioral Health Examiners, Ethics Committee. I copied Vanessa's professional liability insurance provider and the building management of her office complex. Subject line: Formal ethics complaint against licensed therapist Vanessa Torres, license 47,392. The message was factual and structured. There was no emotional language, only documentation. I described the destruction of my wedding dress as one example within a broader behavioral pattern. I connected it to the confidentiality breach, the boundary concerns, and the client complaints. I wrote that a mental health professional who cannot manage personal jealousy, who damages property out of envy, who discloses client matters on social media, and who seeks emotional reassurance from vulnerable clients during therapy sessions presents a serious risk to public welfare. All 12 files were attached. I pressed send at 11:53 p.m. After that, I went to bed. At 8:15 a.m. Friday, my phone rang. The number was unfamiliar. This is Dr. Patricia Wong from the State Board of Behavioral Health Examiners. I'm calling regarding the complaint filed last night against Vanessa Torres. Is this a good time? Yes. We've reviewed your submission. This matter is being treated as a priority investigation. Ms. Torres has been notified that her license is under review. We need to schedule an interview with you. Of course. I want you to understand the evidence you provided, particularly the confidentiality violation and the client review, is extremely serious. Combined with the behavioral pattern you documented, we are initiating a full investigation. The interview was set for Monday at 9 a.m. Later that morning, Vanessa called. I did not answer. She left a voicemail. "What did you do? I just received a letter from the licensing board. They're suspending my practice pending investigation. You can't do this. Call me back." I deleted the message. At 10:30 a.m., my mother called. "Your sister is in tears. She says you reported her to the licensing board." "She destroyed my wedding dress with scissors," I said, "and she has violated client confidentiality and professional boundaries. The board needed to be informed." Over a dress you're willing to ruin her career? Not over a dress, over a documented pattern of unethical behavior that places vulnerable people at risk. The dress was the final incident. My mother ended the call. On Monday, the interview with the licensing board lasted 3 hours. I reviewed each document with them. They had already contacted the former client who left the review. She agreed to submit a formal complaint. They had also identified 2 additional clients prepared to report boundary violations. Ms. Torres's insurance provider has been notified. Her malpractice coverage may be revoked. We are recommending immediate suspension of her license pending the outcome of the investigation. How long will the investigation take? I asked. Typically 3 to 6 months. Given the seriousness of the violations, particularly the confidentiality breach and client complaints, it is likely her license will be permanently revoked. I nodded. You should understand, Dr. Wong added, your report may have prevented significant harm.
Therapists who violate professional boundaries often escalate their behavior, Dr. Wong had said. One former client described sessions where your sister spent 45 minutes crying about her own issues and expecting the client to comfort her. That client was being treated for severe depression and suicidal ideation. I felt a chill. I hadn't realized it had reached that level. You did the right thing by reporting this, she added. My wedding took place that Saturday. I wore a different dress. Mrs. Kowalski had called in favors with other designers and created something beautiful in 5 days. It was simpler than the original, but it was exactly right. Vanessa was not invited. She sent a text that morning. I hope you're happy. I've lost everything. My practice is closed. My clients are gone. I can't pay my rent. All because you couldn't forgive one mistake. I blocked her number. The ceremony was small and personal. The people who truly mattered were present. During the reception, my phone vibrated with an email from the State Board of Behavioral Health Examiners. Subject: Investigation Update. Vanessa Torres. Ms. Torres's license has been suspended indefinitely. Our investigation has identified multiple ethics violations over the past 18 months. 3 former clients have filed formal complaints. Her insurance provider has revoked her malpractice coverage. We will proceed with permanent license revocation. Additionally, one of Ms. Torres's former clients asked us to thank you for coming forward. She stated that the therapy relationship had been harmful and that your report encouraged her to seek appropriate care. Thank you for bringing this matter to our attention. I showed the message to my husband. He read it carefully and then looked at me. Do you feel bad? I considered the question. I thought about the dress in pieces on Vanessa's floor and her statement that I didn't deserve to be prettier than her. I thought about the clients who had been harmed, the boundaries that were crossed, and the confidential information that had been exposed. No, I said, I don't. 6 weeks later, Vanessa's practice officially closed. Her website went offline. Her professional listings were removed. She had taken a job as an administrative assistant at a dental office, earning $16 an hour. No license required. My mother called one more time. Are you satisfied now? Your sister has nothing. She has the outcome her actions created, I replied. She's your sister. She destroyed my wedding dress out of jealousy. She violated her client's trust. She relied on vulnerable people to meet her own emotional needs. Being my sister does not exempt her from consequences. After that, my mother stopped calling. 3 months after the wedding, I received a letter from one of Vanessa's former clients, the woman who had been treated for depression. Dear Mrs. Harrison, I don't know if you remember me, but I was one of Vanessa Torres's clients. The licensing board informed me that you filed the initial complaint. I wanted to thank you. I spent 8 months in therapy with her and left each session feeling worse. She asked me to comfort her, listen to her problems, and validate her feelings. I was suicidal, and she used me as her personal support system. When I learned about the investigation, I realized it wasn't my fault. What she did was wrong. I have found a licensed ethical therapist now, and I am finally receiving proper care. You may have saved my life by reporting her. Thank you. I kept that letter. Sometimes my husband asks whether the consequences were too severe. A career ended over a wedding dress. I show him the letter. I remind him about the confidentiality breaches, the boundary violations, and the clients who were affected. It was never about the dress, I tell him. The dress simply revealed who she was, and the person she was should not have been treating vulnerable individuals. He understands. Vanessa never apologized. She never acknowledged her actions. The last I heard, she is still working at the dental office, living in the same apartment, still alone. The custom wedding dress she destroyed is gone, but I have the photographs from my actual wedding day. The dress Mrs. Kowalski created in 5 days turned out even more beautiful. More importantly, 3 of Vanessa's former clients are now receiving proper care from ethical therapists. The licensing board thanked me for reporting her. If faced with the same decision again, I would make the same choice.